there is probably the seed of the idea now, like, okay, they walk, but next election, last minute, they might not contest.
So trust is broken.
It's true.
Yeah.
The trust is broken. Wow, if I was in Marine Parade, I'll be damn pissed. I'll be damn pissed.
Yeah, please.
My constituency without telling me. So I'm not interrupting anything important.
I mean, you are lah.
Was it Tan Cheng Bok and Leong Man Wai almost got hit by a car park barrier, right?
Yeah.
No, that would have taken out like 2/3 of the PSP's leadership in one car park swipe. Maybe there's like agents behind there controlling the car park machine.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yah Lah, your daily podcast during this GE2025, where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yes.
So, if you have not listened to our previous podcast, you might have no idea what the hell we're doing in the back of a bus, lah.
Yeah.
So, Terence, can you enlighten our dear listeners?
Welcome to the Yah Lah But Apolitical Party Bus. And if you see it on the roads, you can't miss it because it's big, bright and yellow. And what else are the defining features of this bus, Harish?
I mean, there's pictures of us plastered on the sides.
Yeah.
You know, just wearing some different colored clothing.
Fashionable clothing.
Fashionable clothing. You know, across the color spectrum. With a touch of good old humor, lah.
Yeah. And you'll see all the information that you need about following Yah Lah But through this daily GE podcast updates.
Yeah,
right?
and I mean the context of this is because the last election, GE 2020, we did a daily podcast during the campaigning period, but it was done from our bedrooms. So this year we wanted to be on the ground, and we figured, how are we going to go to all 33 constituencies in 8 days, lah, right?
Yeah.
And then we said, okay, why not? We know someone who's been on the podcast, who has an awesome bus company.
Yeah.
Why not we make it happen, lah?
We thought of all the permutations, lah.
Yeah.
Plane, boat,
Bicycle,
train, everything.
trishaw,
Public transport.
Yeah,
But ultimately, we decided probably we just create our own bus, lah, right?
Yeah, create our own bus. So I mean, the fact that this has come together is insane. And every day we are going to be going to about 4 GRCs or SMCs.
Because there's a total of 33, the
33.
largest number ever of constituencies in Singapore elections.
Yeah. And if people want to find out, they can go to yahlahbut.com, where we'll be going every day. The day before, we'll send out a newsletter with the timings, more precise timings. But if you go to the website, you can see generally where we're going, which part of Singapore we're going each day.
And there's even a tracker, right? That shows
it's a live tracker.
It shows you exactly where we are during the day.
There's a fucking live tracker. I forgot. Yeah. All accessible on yahlahbut.com.
Yeah.
So, for example, right, I mean, before we even jump into where we're going, like, the nomination day has finished already.
Yes.
Where's your head at, Terence?
Day 2 of hustings. Like, I think last night, if you go around, posters are up everywhere already.
Yeah.
And there's this mood in the air. Like, everyone's talking about politics.
Yeah.
You go to a coffee shop, everyone's just talking about
So you feel it's every there's not people who are just like going on with their life.
Yeah, even my family and friends who are overseas, they're all talking about politics as well.
Giving you warnings about not to be too pro-opposition.
Yeah.
You know?
No, not to put my face out there, basically, during this period. And risk, talking about politics.
Good to see you have heeded that advice.
I mean, that's what we are, good Singaporeans.
You are literally sitting next to a big ass face of you plastered on the side of the bus.
A bright yellow bus.
Yeah, so I mean, it's insane, and there's almost so much to consume.
Yeah.
Already got somewhat mudslinging from one party to another.
A little bit,
blaming each other and all.
Yeah.
And we're going to be covering, the 2 biggest topics. But for now, today, where we're going is going to be starting with Sembawang. Because we're going to the north of Singapore.
Yeah, northern strategy.
Yeah. So, Sembawang GRC, which is a 3-corner fight, which is PAP, anchored by Ong Ye Kung, and SDP, and NSP.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this one, we've had Ong Ye Kung on our podcast before, but there are quite a few multi-cornered fights this time. More than ever before, right?
More than ever before, yeah.
More than ever before. There's Sembawang, then we'll be stopping by Sembawang West,
Yes.
where Chee Soon Juan is taking on Polisan as an SMC.
Yeah.
Then Marsiling UT, home ground of PM.
Yeah, PM Wong, yeah.
PM Wong, where PAP is taking on SDP. And finally, Nisun, where Shanmugam.
Yeah, he's fielding an entirely new team, right?
Entirely new team, including one ex-NMP.
Ex-NMP, yes.
Ex-NMP, and he's taking on RDU. which is anchored by someone who's also been on our podcast,
Yes.
Ravi Philemon.
Ravi Philemon, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Himself, wow.
I mean, how often do you even go to Sembawang?
I mean, once in a while when I'm headed towards Malaysia or something like
Malaysia,
that.
just a stopover lah.
I mean, Ong Yi Kang talked about it, right? Like being the neighboring constituency lah, JB.
That's true,
Yeah.
true. And I mean, like, he did say, like, he shares a border with the Johor state, lah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
kind of cool, lah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's going to be a lot that we're going to unpack. But the fact that this crazy idea actually came together and we're doing it still blows my mind.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of companies and brands we want to give a shout out to.
Yeah.
So starting with Lendella. So they are our primary sponsor and official transparency ally of not just us but you as well during this GE2025 lah.
Yeah.
So what we love about them coming on board is because their business is all about transparency and making informed decisions. So they pride themselves on always offering transparent loan options so people can make informed decisions on your loan. So you can check them out at lendella.com and find out all the info you need. And a big shout out to them because they actually played a big part in this coming together lah.
Yeah, and a special thanks to West Point Transit, who's literally driving this campaign, like in this bus, right? A big shout out to Lionel, who's been a guest on Yah Lah But as well, and he's the one who heard about our crazy idea and was like, let's make it happen. So that's where we are lah. He jumped on board with our crazy
Jumped on
idea,
board, man.
and we're sitting in this big yellow moving vehicle now. So check them out. And the links in the description. We've included all of them. And just so you know, Lendella and West Point, they support the show, but the opinions that we hear are entirely our own and only our own.
Nothing is going to change. We're going to still cut through all the fat and give you all the good stuff. And now, I guess, on to the episode. So, Terence, right now we are... Where the hell are we?
We are smack in the middle of Sembawang GRC.
Sembawang
We are
GRC,
surrounded
man.
by images of Ong Yi Kang and team to our right.
Yeah.
You can't see it in the video here, but there's a huge picture of him and his team on our right.
Yeah.
And SDP banners all around as well.
Yeah.
Thick in the middle of a multi-cornered fight.
Yeah, but I haven't seen NSP.
Yeah, I haven't seen NSP around.
Yeah, because I mean, as we were driving here, there were a lot of things on the street. You can see logos, you can see people's faces, but no NSP. Or maybe we just didn't recognize it because SDP, the color is like red.
Yeah. But look at this hive of activity. Does this look like a GRC that's about to face a multi-cornered fight?
I would say, I mean, okay, to be honest, I don't know how different this is from any regular Thursday in this. So there was a bit of sarcasm there, is it?
Of course, no, I mean, it is, but it's quite busy, right? It's a very busy spot. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that is probably what MRT? Sembawang MRT,
I suppose so, yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's still nice, because I don't often come to Sembawang, admittedly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But seeing the posters here, because the last time we would have seen posters on the street was 10 years ago.
10 years. No, I mean, there were posters for the presidential
for
election.
For presidential
That's
election.
right. But physical rallies, which we know everyone's quite excited about.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of physical rallies tonight.
Yeah.
Any that particularly caught your eye?
There's one in Fernvale, right? Fernvale, then I think PSP is doing it at
Bishan.
Bishan.
So yeah, I'm excited because that's PSP's first ever physical rally.
Yeah.
You think about it, because 2020 they didn't have any physical rallies.
But Bishan will be in which GRC?
Marymount SMC.
Marymount SMC. Okay,
So, but
okay.
they marketed it as their first ever physical rally. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Because we've never done a physical rally.
Never done it. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Are
gonna
you
be
going?
I mean, I'll try to be one of them. I'm looking at all of them. There's the Sengkang. WP has one having one in Sengkang.
Yeah.
That could be quite interesting
It
also.
could be quite interesting.
Marsiling, I think Marsiling UT. I believe Lawrence Wong will be there.
Yeah.
Right.
This is like the first night of a Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah, everyone's looking for it.
Yeah, everybody's looking forward. Maybe by the final day. I don't know how long the rallies will go on for. I think the schedule is only released the night before, right?
Yeah, like the day before, because they need the police permits and all take time.
The day before. So, I mean, we'll definitely be going to some. But yeah, we're recording live, our first GE live podcast.
Yeah.
I'll not say live on the ground.
Yeah, on the ground.
But, I mean, we have news to talk about.
Yes.
Right. And the biggest news that a lot of people are debating in WhatsApp groups, on the news and all, is the fact that WP pulled out from Marine Parade. Which we covered briefly yesterday.
Yeah.
But I think that was still early on.
Yeah.
How have your thoughts evolved about that?
I mean, if anything, we were discussing that, it's part of the election strategy. They're a small opposition party and things like that.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that all the other opposition parties, or at least most of them, have actually come out and expressed, varying degrees of disappointment or anger at what WP has done, right?
Yeah.
And not necessarily throwing their weight behind, we're all opposition parties facing a tough time and all that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's interesting to follow.
So-
how about you? What have your thoughts evolved as well?
I mean, initially, because Pritam put out a post around the time of nomination, he gave a doorstop interview where he explained it, and he seemed quite personable in the sense of talking to the people from Marine Parade and Bradel Heights, explaining that they are a small party, they still want to put their best foot forward. They've been wanting to contest in Tampines for a while. Apparently, Faisal Manaf has been wanting to do it for a long time, and they will resume their walkabouts after the elections.
Yeah.
But I mean, like finding out that Marine Parade actually has 131,000 voters, that GRC is huge. And the more I think about it, right, the more I feel like, I don't think that was the best idea. Okay, partly also because there was this podcast that Sylvia Lim and Jackson Au did with Mothership.
Yeah.
And one of the questions she answered, she talked about how it is important that the younger members get the experience of running in an election, which she and Pritam have a lot.
Yeah.
I think the first time Sylvia ran, she even lost.
Yeah.
So when I heard that, I was like, okay that makes sense. Anything you do, you want to join a new activity, you want to sign up for something, just being there, doing it, you can learn.
Yeah.
So I would have thought with WP's branding increasing over the past few years, fielding a candidate, a team, is it really that hard? I mean, even if you sacrifice, these might not be the best star candidates.
Yeah.
But feel like fielding a team, what's the downside to that? Of course, resources and all that.
Resources, yeah.
Definitely, but it felt like, because I mean, even the walkabouts, I remember first time seeing Harpreet, he was walking about in East Coast and Marine Parade, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So then to leave that vacuum, and I don't want to use that word because it was the main word used by Masagosa, who also came out and spoke. So it wasn't just opposition parties, it was the incumbent as well.
Yeah.
The incumbent who is leaving Tampines.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why the residents have been talking about a feeling of abandonment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we spoke to some people who are even like residents of Marine Parade,
Bradel Heights,
themselves. And they feel sad that they're not part of the political process. And like you said, actually, that's the thing. In Pritam Singh's doorstop interview, he mentioned that we are a small opposition party. But, I mean, doesn't get any bigger than WP at this point, right? So how do you talk about wanting to end the supermajority or one day maybe even, taking over government if you won't even, like you say, just contest in a place that you've been walking around for the last 5 years as well, right?
Yeah.
And they have no shortage of volunteers. Is whether they meet their standards is another question. But I do, and now in retrospect, I'm looking at it like, actually they could have fielded even a C team or something.
Yeah, because that's the whole point of their pitch in Parliament, right? We don't want a super majority. There needs to be check and balance. Even if you take the mindset that you put someone there's a bit of resistance. It's like exercise, a bit of resistance builds muscles, right?
Yeah.
But now you have 5 MPs, 2 of whom are new.
Yeah.
It's not just one. I thought it was one, it's 2.
Yeah.
Just going into Parliament, then it kind of goes against what they are preaching, right? That there needs to be a check and balance, there cannot be a super majority.
Yeah.
But in Marine Parade, it is it's not even a majority, it's like complete domination.
Yeah. I mean, so do you see that what Goh Meng Sing, the Secretary General of People's Power Party, he called WP the last-minute spoiler party who was willing to sacrifice 130,000 voters' rights in Marine Parade Bradel Heights just to get into a four-cornered fight.
Yeah.
And for reference, he's referring to WP now throwing the hat into the Tampines GRC ring also, making it a four-cornered fight with other opposition parties.
Yeah.
So do you agree with his assessment that Workers' Party is a last-minute spoiler party?
Okay, so last minute, the thing is, there is something there. Because another thing that I remember Pritam also answered in a Q&A when he unveiled a few new candidates was someone asked, are you discussing with opposition to prevent multi-cornered fights? And his response we don't actually do those meetings. Which I was quite surprised.
Yeah.
But looking at it, it has always been the other opposition parties that have spoke about opposition unity. I think Ravi Philemon from Red Dot United, when they decided to step down from contesting in Jalan Kayu, he said, at this point in time, opposition unity is important. So, in some way, last minute spoiler party, I mean, Goh Meng Sing was clearly emotional.
Yeah.
It does feel like, what is WP's rationale here? Because I can understand for them like we're going to do what we want to do because we believe we have the best candidates, and you don't want to compromise the quality of candidates in any GRC lah.
Yeah.
But it felt like more communications. Is it really that bad a thing?
Yeah.
Because
Even in the whole lead up to the election kind of thing, then you get a sense that even with their media strategy, WP was holding it very close, right?
yeah,
Holding the cards very close to the chest. I mean, now you're seeing a barrage of their own produced content, right?
Yeah.
A lot of videos, a lot of, get to know your MP kind of things. But even for us as a platform, getting WP on wasn't a walk in the park also, right?
we didn't get them on in the
Actually, in the lead up, we did not get anything.
We got Harpreet lah,
Yeah, we got Harpreet,
Yeah.
which was a star catch, right?
Yeah.
But we've been talking to him for months or so, right?
Yeah.
So, in some sense, maybe WP's strategy is to really hold the cards close to their chest, as opposed to this concept of opposition unity, right? Which kind of you know how in some ways, like if you're like the cool person and all that, do you want to let anybody join your group, right? Or do you just want to maintain your own cool group and not like just let anyone join in also and be associated with
But
them?
then, okay, looking at it from the other angle, right? Like as much as WP, they're not. I would consider them a small party because they are much smaller parties.
Yeah.
They also have limited resources, right?
Correct.
We know firsthand, hearing from people in opposition, from opposition parties, they don't get access to the same resources, right?
Correct. Yep.
So, is it wrong for him to take a very calculated approach, and for him and the party, because I don't think it's just his decision, to take a very calculated approach in okay, we have the best chance in the eastern side of Singapore. Let us build our fort there. Tampines, maybe they felt a lot of dormant demand for WP, and they are just thinking that more seats in parliament versus contesting just for the sake of contesting is better for the former lah.
Yeah, maybe a strategic move, but I think like what you mentioned about there being a need to what you mentioned there about a need to account for the feelings of 130,000 voters. That's not to be scoffed at lah. Remember what we talked about, the whole US tariff situation. Like even if the next US president after Trump rescinds all these tariffs that are out there, do you think any country would be like, okay, I trust the United States and I will do business with you 100%, eyes closed, no problem at all? No, trust is broken. So in some sense, if you're a Marine Parade resident, if the WP comes back next time after this election, will you trust that they will stay, that they will contest again? Or would you just stay with the incumbent or even think about only supporting another opposition party?
I mean, not just Marine Parade, right? Like any GRC where WP is doing walkabouts, there is probably the seed of the idea now, okay, they walk, but next election, last minute, they might not contest.
Yeah, exactly. So trust is broken.
It's true.
Yeah.
The trust is broken. And you compare that with what Hazel Pua and Leong Man Wah and Tan Cheng Bock said when they announced they were running in West Coast, right?
West Coast Jurong, yeah.
West Coast Jurong.
Yeah.
I remember both of them said that at first they were thinking about running as in SMCs lah.
Yeah.
Because they both have quite a bit of airtime in Parliament. I think there are a lot of people who support them. But they said we cannot just leave the residents of West Coast who got us into Parliament in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, it feels like whatever you're saying about leave no Singaporean behind, everyone together, you see it in small actions like this lah. Whereas now, right, when I hear if WP, if they're saying, we want for all Singaporeans.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah, that's why.
It's tainted lah a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you could really think WP, if any of the opposition parties could field like a team lah, right?
Yeah.
Even a C team or something, it would be WP lah, right?
Yeah.
And give blood these new people, this new talent, and get them to sense what it's like to be in part of an election for once, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, Goh Ming Seng was one.
Yeah.
There were a few there was one guy who said, WP has let in 5 own goals.
Yeah.
In Marine Parade.
Yeah.
Not so sure which party. But the PPP chairman Derek Sim also spoke out about it.
Yeah.
Even Masagos himself said that the WP has left a vacuum.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing about leaving Marine Parade, right? The fact that they are entering Tampines and making it a 4-corner fight.
Yeah.
Then what would you feel? Because the Marine Parade, you can look that aside, but then entering Tampines?
I mean, I guess Tampines for them strategically it makes sense because there's the interest. I mean, they say that they've been on the ground also, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the four-cornered fight feels like something that could have been avoided. I think like if Ravi Philemon could step out of Jalan Kayu because WP was going in there, maybe the same courtesy could have been shown, or at least a discussion could have happened, right, with other opposition parties about it, because definitely it's going to dilute the opposition share of votes.
Yeah, so, but then when you say courtesy, right? I know yesterday when we were talking about, can politics actually be nice?
Yeah.
We compared it to sports. I know at least one person on Reddit said it's different because sports, you are literally competing against each other, but politics is about Singapore as a country, which, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with also. But you think courtesy needs to be part of it? Especially at the end of the day, you want to vote in the people who are the most competent, right?
Yeah.
Should it matter whether it's a 2-corner fight, a 3-corner fight, a 4-corner fight?
I think you got a point, because you think about the other parties also.
Yeah.
Some of them have quite extreme views compared to the Workers' Party.
Yeah.
And you might not want to even allow their positions to be aired in Parliament, right?
Yeah.
Not say allowed, but you don't see it as something compatible with your own views.
Yeah.
And there's no way that you want to be seen endorsing their views, even tangentially, right?
Yeah.
So in some ways, if that sets up multi-corner fight, so be it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we talk about meritocracy and all, right? You know that we've said before on the podcast also, why can't politics just be about best idea wins? So in that sense, yeah, maybe if there's a 4-corner fight, 5-corner fight, then so be it, best idea wins.
Yeah.
Of course, you can look at it the other way where any opposition in Parliament, you would think is progress.
Yeah.
Would you think that any opposition in Parliament?
I mean, the formation of more parties is a sign of democracy, right? But the quality of the opposition, I think, is that one still can discuss further, right?
Yeah.
You would want good people and not just anybody, right?
But then, so okay, maybe that question, like, would you say you wouldn't mind any opposition in Parliament as long as there's less of a super majority, or even amongst opposition, right? You feel like, okay, certain opposition you want, certain opposition you don't want.
Yeah. I think, if anything, like this exercise that we've done of like talking to a lot of different people have shown me that there are good people in various parties, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they change allegiances because the party doesn't align with their beliefs over time, like Hazel Pua was talking about it. And should we judge them based on the party or judge them as individuals?
Yeah.
So to me, I do now, I've moved towards more, okay, I really want to hear what the individual has to say, Even as part of a GRC or something, it's less about the party manifesto, but about their personal beliefs or so.
So that means you're saying because I was thinking, I don't think I just want any opposition for the sake of having more opposition in Parliament. I think, now where a lot more people are sharing a lot more of their views online and you can literally see what they say, how they present themselves. Yeah, I think that one also got a spectrum. Spectrum of opposition.
I mean, that's why I just think that anyone who's voting has to start from the starting point has to be that politicians all have an ego. That's why they're in politics. They believe they can lead you. They believe.
So even the most humble grow up in kampong all got ego.
The most humble one, even that they all have ego. No matter how much they say they don't have an ego, they're a band of people. They eat char kway teow and they take MRT. All of them, they're putting their faces out there. It's a popularity contest, and they're making promises that they don't know that they can 100% fulfill. So always take that with a pinch of salt. Then you start questioning them a bit more critically, and then after that you make a judgment from there. Yeah. So there's none of them. There's no Obama, hope, change, all that. Yeah, I think all that is like.
But how to judge them critically at this point when all you have is their promises of what they will champion?
Correct. So you listen to closely to what they say, like podcast hours. I think our episode with Harpreet was a great example, right? We pressed him quite about his beliefs and about what policies specifically
got him in trouble also or something.
I mean, trouble. I mean, you could talk about it. No publicity is bad publicity, right? But then also look at what they've done before. I think if you look at someone like Harpreet Singh's background in the legal work he's done, the causes he's championed, he has walked the talk, right? It's not just, doesn't appear just every 5 years and just says like, I want to do this, I want to do that, right? He has walked the talk and helped the civic community in Singapore for very long. Yeah. But I mean, wow, you ask me this question is like, wow, you're asking me about whom I'm going to vote for already.
I don't know.
This one, election guidelines, don't come and like ask people specifically who they're going to vote for.
Yeah, but I never asked. You want to answer that way, you answer.
Yeah. But you, like, how do you feel about your opposition?
I mean, same thing. Like, I wouldn't want any opposition just for the sake of having more opposition in parliament.
Okay.
I think that is going down a dangerous precedent.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to like, yeah, I get how opposition unity can be beneficial, but at the same time, you don't want just for the sole reason of having every constituency contested, kind of sacrifice quality lah.
Correct.
And I think it is up to every party to make sure they can do their part lah.
Yeah.
But then like when a constituency goes uncontested, that's sad lah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's sad
Sad
lah.
130,000 Marine Parade residents.
130. Wow, if I was in Marine Parade, I'll be damn pissed lah. I'll be damn pissed.
I think you'll be pissed, yeah, especially also if you're like one of the newly absorbed ones, like McPherson or something also, right?
Yeah.
But you'll be pissed off with the Workers' Party, right? If anything.
I mean, okay, maybe pissed off at the situation, but yeah, I think I will be disappointed in Workers' Party.
Yeah.
Disappointed. But I mean, I guess it is what it is right now.
Yeah. I guess the big question that we have: are we still going to Marine Parade in these few days of hustings?
I mean, we go lah, but then that means there are no banners lah.
Probably don't need lah, because banners are not cheap, right?
No, but they would have put it up. They would have prepared.
They would have prepared. But never put it up.
Never put it up.
Part of what you're paying for in that $40 per banner is the manpower it takes to put it up. You see.
So Marine Parade now is like a time machine lah. You know, you go back to it's like, you know, Cuba. Cuba, you go there, you got all the old cars and all that.
Yeah. Still
Marine Parade is like that. This is what life was like before.
Still got pictures of maybe Tim Pei Ling and McPherson, SMC, everything. Didn't bother to take it down. Yeah.
That's why no one giving out flyers.
No, nobody. Yeah.
No one like loitering around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say like we mentioned maybe Xia Jinping is running around helping his colleagues elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah lah. So I mean, like. Aside from that, like there was also Lawrence Wong who gave a press conference.
Yes.
I didn't quite understand the context of the press conference also. Because why is it only he gave a press conference, or is it because the other parties they gave like doorstop interviews? That's the equivalent.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Like what's the specific thing? But I know that yesterday, right after nominations, every party went on their way lah. They started day one of hustings. Officially started yesterday. So maybe this press conference was planned, and because he's Prime Minister, more airtime will be given to him. Yeah.
But before we go into what he said, speaking of nominations and all, which were the more memorable speeches for you? Or moments.
Moments. I think yesterday there was like there was an incident where was it Tan Cheng Bock and Leong Man Wai almost got hit by a car park barrier, right?
Yeah,
so that was almost a meme, right? If anybody got injured, thankfully.
Trying to divide up the GRC.
No, that would have taken out like 2/3 of the PSP's leadership in one car park swipe.
Half the combined, more than half the combined age.
Yeah, maybe there's like agents behind there controlling the car park machine. Because it dropped damn fast. You saw the video. It didn't look like a normal kind of like barrier. Right?
Some of they wearing new shirts all. No?
Yeah, exactly. Looking good.
New shirts. But like the speeches, any speeches?
Oh, the speeches. I mean, we saw Harpreet speaking.
Yeah.
I think he's a good orator for sure. Yeah. There's I just love the part at the end where he also grabbed the mic and started chanting Workers' Party or Workers' Party. Yeah.
And then they cut the audio off.
I think they cut the audio off. So he's almost like was symbolic of like him being silenced, almost in a way, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the thing that stood out, I mean, just in terms of the bravado.
Yeah.
I mean, Pritam Singh, he came on like shouting, man.
Yeah.
So I know, like, we're talking about just the Worker Party speeches.
Yeah.
The Workers' Party speeches.
No, but incumbent, there was one that stood out to me. Do you remember Bernadette Giam? Do you remember Bernadette? This is completely.
Sorry, recording podcast, right?
Yeah. Hey, Minister, please come, just sit down for a minute. Yeah, please.
My constituency, without telling me.
This is completely unplanned.
Yeah, this is not planned at all.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 months to tell him, sorry, Minister,
you are in my constituency.
Yes. Your picture is right there.
We got permit.
Huh? Sorry, what are you reporting?
No, we are talking about the, how to make Singapore good again.
Okay. So I'm not interrupting anything important.
I mean, you are lah. You are lah.
Okay, welcome to Sembawang.
Yes.
This is my constituency. Yeah. Behind you is Sembawang MRT station. This is beautiful. You should have gone in there.
Oh.
Yeah, this is Bukit Canberra that we spent so much effort building this place.
Oh, I see.
The original plan, they wanted to build a stadium here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we decided no, it's try to keep the greenery. And inside there are 4 swimming pools, our polyclinic, hawker centers. So 4 swimming pools.
Oh, 4 swimming pools.
Yeah,
I see,
yeah.
I see.
What about the new one that you were doing? You were hanging off.
There is there.
inside.
Is there?
Okay.
Yeah, upstairs. Yeah.
Ah.
I see.
Okay.
Wow. So what's on the cards today for you? Like, what do you?
Our campaign is grueling. The PAP campaign is typically very grueling because it involves us walking markets, walking the blocks up and down, because we always believe that you have to look at voters in the eye, shake their hand and say, can you please give me your vote?
Yeah.
And some will say yes, some will say I'll think about it, you know. Yeah, but so far for me, most of them say yes. I'm quite encouraged. Yeah.
but how has this been different from the previous elections that you've been part of?
I think this time round, you know what's the biggest difference? I'll be honest. This round, there is such a thing called podcasts. Yeah, I'm spending quite a bit of time in podcasts. Yesterday I was at Daily Catch Up. Today I'm here. I heard you are here. I purposely drive by here.
Yeah, for real, we did not plan this at all. I saw Terence smiling. I was like, what are you smiling at? Then I saw,
Yeah.
When he stepped out of the vehicle, I thought, oh, mata lai liao,
Mata in white and white.
mata and white lai.
But also, so aside from podcasts, like the feel from the ground, the sentiments, what has stood out?
Okay, in our case, I would say the fact that there's a 3-corner contest here, there's a little bit more excitement. Yeah, voters are thinking, hey, there's 3 to choose from. Yeah, but fortunately, many of them say, hey, who's the other 2? Yeah, so that gives me some comfort. Yeah, so contest does make a difference.
Oh, so contest does make a difference.
Contest does make a difference.
So I mean, like, there were a lot of surprises yesterday. I don't know how much you can speak about it, but like what's your take on everything that happened?
The movements are not unexpected, because that happens every election. For me, the surprising part is WP, who say they are contesting in 31 seats. And then the night before we were counting, they only presented 25 candidates. So we're wondering where's the other 26 candidate. So we're wondering where's the other 5, 5 superstars coming out of nowhere. Turns out they skipped one. They skipped Marine Parade, which I thought that to me is the most surprising. Yeah.
We were just talking about that also.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, it's been 10 years where Singapore is like fully out and about. So it's an interesting experience for us also. That's why we wanted to record on the ground, because everyone is doing it on the studio. We figured why not, capture stuff like this in the background. So today
and sometimes a candidate walk past and sit down.
Any recommendations for what to eat for lunch around here?
You can have 505, the Block 505 coffee shop.
Okay.
But I recommend going over just to the hawker center.
Oh, hawker center, okay.
Bukit Canberra Hawker Center.
You'll be there or you're gone there?
No, I
already?
won't be there. I'll be at another place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can.
Okay.
Wow, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to hand the mic back to you. Sorry to disturb.
No, thank you, Minister Ong Ye Kung, for showing up.
But you look fresh for
Yeah, you
all
look
the
fresh.
walking and all you've been doing.
I'm having an injury on my neck.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
Well, all the best, Minister.
All the best, man. Okay,
Thank you for popping by.
We're still in the recording.
Yeah.
We're still recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that
man.
was Minister Ong Ye Kung and his team. They just popped out of a vehicle and crashed our podcast, which was pretty awesome.
I mean, that was really not planned.
It was not planned. No, about 5 minutes before that happened, I saw police cars drive by and then it slowed down a little bit. So I was like, oh, okay, are we going to get chased away?
Yeah.
But then later this other vehicle came and I saw Ong Ye Kung. I was like, oh, God.
They even asked for a photo and we're like, we're in the middle of recording, we haven't cut yet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, like we even confirmed this location where we're filming like literally today.
Yeah, minutes before.
Man.
Yeah. So,
man.
Wow. Okay, that's our first drop-in interview.
Unintended.
Unintended.
I mean, maybe it's a call out to any candidates,
Yeah.
We're going to be releasing our schedule like the night before, where exactly we'll be. But if you go to the website, yahlahbut.com, everything is there generally for the areas we'll go.
Yeah.
Man, that was random as fuck. We got
fun.
shots fired.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's very relevant to what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You heard what he said, that they were looking at the list of candidates from Workers' Party and they were surprised that there were only 26 out of 31.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I mean,
Harish, you look shell-shocked. You're still like processing
it's
it.
just so
It
fucking
was,
random.
yeah.
But I mean, that's the nice thing about being on the ground.
Yeah, be on the ground. Like then you see how they do it, and
Oh my god.
and there are vehicles going off, just waving goodbye to them. But yeah, so just going back to what we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
There was one more PAP speech yesterday that impressed me.
Ah.
Bernadette Giam,
Ah.
a PAP candidate, gave a speech in Tamil.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard it. She was reading off a script, but she was really trying to enunciate and I think make sure the intonation was correct and all that.
Yeah.
So, but some people I saw comments were like, "Oh, the first meme of GE2025 or that." So I'm not sure. Maybe you have to check with our Tamil friends.
I mean, like the speech that I recall was the one by Dr. Paul Tambaya, but because I think he spoke all 4 languages.
Oh, I see. Impressive.
But the thing is, like when we were talking about yesterday about how politics is adversarial and stuff like that, his speech was really nice, lah.
Yeah.
And like you compare
He's a nice
it-
guy. He's a nice
he's
guy.
a nice guy, and I hope that doesn't hurt his chances, lah. Because when they unveiled their manifesto and he spoke about it for 10 minutes, he took questions. I thought he did damn well, lah.
Yeah.
I love the way he articulates his points, the way he answers questions, and it does feel like this is the kind of politician that I would like to see in Parliament, lah.
Yeah.
The only thing is because he doesn't have that, bravado and all, right?
Yeah.
I hope it still bodes well for him, lah.
We'll see. We'll see. The next few days, maybe he'll show a bit more a fiercer side of himself.
Yeah. Paul
you never
Tambaya
know.
unleashed.
Yeah.
But
True.
I mean, the other thing was also Lawrence Wong's speech, lah. Lawrence Wong's press conference. The thing that stood out for me was when he was asked about the changes, lah. Basically,
Yeah.
Teo Chee Hean, Heng Swee Keat retiring, Gan Kim Yong moving from Choa Chu Kang to Punggol, and then Tan See Leng going to Choa Chu Kang. One thing he said, which I found a bit surprising, was he also explained the benefit of having Gan Kim Yong, who is DPM in Punggol, because he said he will be covering Marsiling,
Yeah.
which is like the west
Yeah.
ish. Then Assembly is covering the central, and DPM Gan Kim Yong is in the east, lah.
Yeah.
So he said that is the good thing, is like they will be spread out, making sure they can take care of the needs of all Singaporeans, lah. I found it a bit weird, lah.
I mean, they're like being like the mayors like that.
Oh, why you say that?
I mean, the mayors are in charge of districts, right?
Yeah.
So in some ways, like the senior CEC leadership of the PAP, they also like looking after areas like zone defense. If you
And I
use
mean,
a
like,
sports
he
analogy.
basically played the Assembly card, lah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I didn't think Assembly would be part of the pitch, especially when you're talking about new generation. So that's where I felt like it's like finding a way to shine a positive light on the changes, lah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even if they're across the island, so what? Like, Singapore's not that big, right?
Correct. No, when you say Singapore's not that big, right?
Yeah, but
But-
Sembawang is quite far, lah.
Yeah, I mean, Sembawang's far. We came here and we were very lost for a while. We were
Yeah.
like, oh, where to go? Did not expect Ong Yi Kang to drop in on us.
Yeah.
That means we must have chosen a spot that's like probably a lot of people, a lot
I
of
guess
footfall.
near the
right?
MRT and all that, right?
Yeah. So we say it's not big, but there are differences between districts that, that maybe being closer to here on the ground and knowing that one of the senior leadership is sort of overseeing everything, it gives people some comfort.
But were you surprised that he mentioned Assembly? Because I thought Assembly is almost like, he shouldn't be front and center anymore.
He's not but at the end of the day, like, can you stop people from wanting to support him, or have knowing that having him around is actually a comfort to the community and all?
Yeah.
You stop people from feeling that? You can't. And I saw it firsthand. When he was at the zoo, and people was all very excited to see him and all.
And I guess, like, going back to that Lee Kuan Yew quote you shared yesterday about how, I also remember him saying, to run Singapore well, you first need to win elections, lah.
Yeah, correct.
And maybe the whole kumbaya thing is really impossible, lah.
It's not like-
Yesterday
it's not
we already
possible,
saw shots fired. Literally just now, I was surprised that Ong Yi Kang said so directly about what he felt about the WP's candidates and all not being featured. But I think that's the nature of the game, lah.
And I think if anyone in their leadership, they've probably been thinking about this, or losing sleep over it, the election strategy, right?
In whose leadership?
PAP even. they're probably thinking hard about who to field where. So they probably were all very shocked at the walkover yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that like this is the top thing on his mind as well.
Yeah.
Surprising. The first win that they did not expect.
And I mean, unfortunately, I think it will. I can imagine in the rally speeches and all people bringing up this point again, lah.
Yeah.
Of leaving Marine Parade, lah.
Correct.
I think that will happen.
Yeah.
I know in Lawrence Wong's press conference, he also mentioned that. I mean, he acknowledged that there is this thinking that during tough times, instability, people will vote for the incumbent. But COVID showed that to not be true.
Yeah, not be true. Yeah.
And he said, he's expecting a tough fight because the opposition is a lot more battle-hardened now.
Yeah. And he said similar things that I think Ong Ye Kung also said on our podcast before, is that the opposition is here to stay, right?
Yeah.
That he has no illusions that there won't be an opposition, or people don't want opposition in Singapore, right?
Yeah. But I mean, that is heartening to hear, that there is that a bit more respect for the opposition.
Yeah.
I think everyone's feeling it. There's a lot more credibility now.
So the funny thing is, I think Bertha Hansen was saying that this nomination day was the most dramatic that she's ever covered or experienced before in her life, right? I think yesterday we were saying that, it seems like quite chill, no mudslinging. But I suppose from a strategic point of view, that it was quite a shock, like to see a walkover, something that hasn't happened in almost 15 years.
I mean, but if you think about it, even though she's been covering news for 30 plus years, it was only 2011 where an opposition party won a GRC. Meaning before that, right? Can you imagine probably, I can't imagine how many constituencies were actually contested.
Yeah.
But the moment Workers' Party won Aljunied in 2011, that's only 14 years ago.
Yeah.
2015, that election, maybe it was still early years in the opposition having a big enough presence. COVID was COVID.
Yeah.
So I think even though it's not oh my god, shocking, I can imagine it at first I was like, really? She's been coming for so long, this is the most shocking.
Yeah.
But I think the landscape was damn different back then.
Different landscape.
Different landscape. Now there's almost, before this, there was so much talk. We also were talking about where WP is going to field their candidates, because it's cool that the opposition party have candidates that people see as star catchers, as these are legit, credible people, which is a sign of a more mature democracy.
Yep, it is.
So I mean, I guess we are only going to see more and more mudslinging.
Yeah. I still stand by that I don't feel the mudslinging was as bad. Even the parties being upset with each other, they're still not really mudslinging yet.
It hasn't gotten personal.
It's more about party strategy and all. So I think it's okay.
Yeah. So maybe that wasn't mudslinging. That was just throwing water a bit. Man.
Yeah, so here we are, man. Day 2 of Hustings. Already had a big guest dropping in. Hopefully we got more coming up soon. You got to stay tuned. Make sure you follow us every day to see who might just drop in like that.
Yeah. And you just have to sign up by going to yahlahbut.com, where every night we will send out a newsletter with our locations and approximate timings for the next day.
Yeah.
We are putting out a lot of content on social media.
Yeah.
This is the first day, first recording, first stop we're doing.
Yeah.
It's only going to grow from this.
Yeah. And we still have the same segments as before, right? One shook comment and one shook thing, right?
Yes.
So, do you have your one shook comment? I have mine.
Not yet, but you want to pull yours up?
Yeah, on the latest episode from yesterday, 6:50, Feeling Put 5849 said, long-time listener since the last GE, but first-time commenter on Reddit. Congratulations. We took your Reddit cherry, right? You guys are, in my opinion, the most balanced podcast out there when it comes to political subjects and guests. I know it because some of your opinions and interviews either leave me nodding and agreeing or triggered.
Okay.
It's a good sign of presenting both sides while still being entertaining. Well done. I love that contrarian attitude you're taking, you know? So, and so he or she continues. Anyway, can't help but disagree with your sports analogy because I'm a sports fan. This week about politics in Singapore and how politics is like sports, where it's win at all costs just like sports. Stepping back, Singapore politics has to be one where both sides should actually be playing for the same team of fans, us, the citizens. In sport, it's really two different sets of fans. I think you paraphrased it just now, right? Yeah. I think politicians sometimes forget that. Maybe the distinction might be one more specifically about the style of play instead. Anyway, excited for what you guys be doing over the next couple of weeks. So shout out to Feeling Put 5849 for that.
Cool. My one show comment is also from the same Reddit thread by Cheng San TP.
Okay.
Hi TNH. I'm an overseas Singaporean whose heart has always been close to home and came across your podcast this week.
Yeah.
You guys speak from a place I feel like has been desperately missing from the Singapore conversation. It's such important work. Don't stop.
Yep.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. New listener.
Yeah.
Solid.
So, I mean, for the One Shook Thing segment, we haven't really discussed it. But
Yeah.
how are we going to handle One Shook Things like every day for the next few
I
days?
mean, one way is to just look at one shock things related to the election. Lah.
Okay.
You know, it can be lighthearted, could be an eye-opening post, a very thoughtful article.
Yeah.
And we try lah.
Okay.
Like with most things, we try.
Okay. Do you have your One Shook Thing already?
Yes, I do. My one shock thing is a moment from the nominations
Okay.
of this little auntie who was giving the thumbs up lah.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the post. But I'll put a link to the post in the comments.
Sure.
But yeah, like, it was cute lah. You know, like with nominations, you see so much of like adversary and like, you know, calling each other out and all. But this one, I think she was just supporting the person who was speaking lah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
cute scene stealer at nomination day.
Yeah.
So this was for which party? It was at Yio Chu Kang SMC from
Okay.
the People's Action Reform.
Okay. Okay.
And as the speaker was giving the speech, she was just waving in the background lah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was lighthearted lah. Lighthearted.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. What about you?
My One Shook Thing is a Straits Times video of the Workers' Party Punggol GRC team on the first walkabout. So they went to the Punggol MRT and they were doing a walkabout. So this is Harpreet Singh's team along with other new candidates like Jackson Au, Siti Alia Abdul Rahim Mata, and Alexis Deng. And there was one particular man who, I don't know, the handshake just felt too long.
Yeah.
He was shaking Alexis Deng's hand, and I'm just looking at about 8 seconds in, he just keeps holding her hand and swings it.
For how many seconds?
I don't know, like almost
four.
3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
But it just went into slightly creepy territory.
Yeah,
right?
it did. It did.
Because, I mean, people are commenting about Alexis Deng and her looks and things like that. So, yeah, I think as much as they want your vote also, we got to treat them as human beings. Don't do creepy things to them, right?
Yeah. that one, so that's your one shock thing.
I mean, that's my message to people. They are humans also. Let's treat them as such.
Treat them with respect. Don't hold on to their hands for too long.
Yeah. Just now you saw, I think like a second with Ong Yi Kang, like firm handshake. That's it, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you think about the number of hands they have to shake every day, right?
Yeah.
All the COVID, no handshaking,
Yeah, it's out
gone.
the window already. Yeah,
No one fist bumps.
Yeah, no fist bumps.
You have to just handshake lah.
Handshakes.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, this is the end of our first on-site, on the ground.
And amazing is I feel like we lived up to what we promised, like that someone,
Day
could
one.
drop it on the first.
Setting high expectations, man.
Yeah. Let's hope it goes
But
uphill.
hopefully we get candidates from every party.
Correct.
If you're seeing this, we're going to be trying to put up our locations and timings ahead of time. If you see us recording, I mean, if you're a candidate lah, not just random people come and interrupt lah. It'd be
Feel
cool
free,
lah.
feel free to just come and say hi.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And if you're new listening, new listeners, please, just continue to share about us to people who may not have heard about us. Go to yahlahbut.com to look at our live locations and find out more about this crazy little thing we're trying to do. And it's going to be an exciting 8.5 more days.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And if you want to work with us, even now, we're still open to people who want to work with us.
Yeah.
What should I do, Terrence?
Email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right, signing out from Sembawang West,
Signing out from
Sembawang GRC.
yeah.
Signing out from Sembawang GRC. Yeah.
All right.